Cryptis, what's going on? It is me, Mississippi Gonzo Grown, JK Rip Redcorn, and today we are going to be looking at the Imponte Dukes collection, which consists of this Dukes, the Armored Out Dukes, and the Dukes Beater. But yeah, we all know what this car is. It's a 1969 Dodge Charger with the front end and the rear end of a 67 GTO. You know, it's such a shame they never made like a Dukes of Hazzard style livery for this car. Well, for the Beater Dukes, because it was so bizarre why they made that one and they gave that one all the liveries and hood options. But with this one, you get very basic. You know, you can't make it look like the Highway Reaper from GTA 4, which that was basically, you know, what you see here with this particular design. But you put on like a different, you know, different hood, the big butt catcher hood, which actually works on the Beater. Yep, I did put that horn on it. But we all know why we got this car. You all know why we get this car. You know, Dukes of Hazzard shenanigans. That was my mistake, going up that way. Get off that rock, you dipstick. But we all know why we get this car. It's for, you know, shenanigans like this. You know, just jumping it. And yeah, that's the other thing too. You can't put in all the stunt roll cages with this one. But yeah, you can paint the hood. Well, not the hood. You can paint the roof. But you know, someone's like, well, why didn't we get that particular flag? Well, people complain. It's like we can't have Dukes of Hazzard crap anymore because people complained and they've never watched the show themselves. But I'm not going to get into any political rants. Had to do it. One time for the Dukes of Hazzard. One time for the General Lee, everybody. But that's the main reason why we all got this car. You all know why we got it. I'm not talking about Rockstar adding it in. I'm talking about the reason why some of you have one of these in your garage. It's because of this car right here. Some of y'all might have it because of Fast and Furious. And then there's some of you that you just have this because, you know, why not? You just love Chargers. You know, personally, if I had to say my favorite Charger from a movie, you know, outside of the TV, you know, I keep TV shows separate, but, you know, obviously the General Lee, which is a TV car. But in terms of movies, well, that would be Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. If any of y'all have ever seen that, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That was actually a good car movie. It starred Peter Fonda. He was in it. Ooh, don't Roscoe it. Let's not Roscoe the General. But you know, hey, Roscoe did have his moments with the General. I mean, he did jump over the General and actually stuck the landing. He did drive the General Lee once and jump through an RV, which was hilarious. Which I think I have that clip saved. I better not get stuck. No, don't you get stuck. Yeah, let's not get stuck, but I'll put it in reverse. But yeah, this one actually does have some power behind it. This one's got a whole heap of power behind it. But, yeah, me and Slade are actually going to end up using Dukes for a bit. Well, we actually are going to use it for a movie. And the General Lee hit a deer. Oh, no. Don't Roscoe it. Don't Roscoe it! I Roscoed it. Well, there goes the fender. Which is funny, because if you actually watch some of those homemade videos they made with this show, that they made with the Dukes of Hazzard, some of those homemade videos where they were shooting the stunts, you can see how bad those cars folded. They stood up well to the jump damage, but they were also very stout. They were stout at holding up on the jumps. It was that and the Chevelle that's where it came down to. Imagine that, the General Lee as a 1970 Chevelle. That would have been wild. Like, the General Lee would have never been a Dodge Charger. And plus that, I'll just go on ahead and say it. Dukes of Hazzard did not tear up that many Chargers. It was like, it was just shy over, it was just like right around 330. It was like 324 is the exact number, I believe. But some people complain, Dukes of Hazzard made the Chargers that high. No, it wasn't. A bunch of different shows and movies also helped contribute to that. And there was cash for clunkers, which did, saw a lot of these cars get destroyed. Those of y'all that don't know what that is, go look that up. That was single-handedly by the government, which you can blame Bush and Obama for that nonsense. A lot of good classic cars got crushed. But I do know, I think that's how Freiberger how he got his Cornet, his Super B, that is. Because with his Super B, he actually saved it from getting, scrapped. So he ended up saving it. Yeah, I could do a whole video talking about, how the government ultimately messes us all up. And how people just go along with it willy-nilly. It's like, it's the government. I'm also native. The government's not your friend. But I will say this car is also by far one of the funnest ones to drive on dirt. But, this one might be a little bit different because I ended up messing this one up. Because I decided to Roscoe P. Coltrane it. But, other than that, we will be jumping into another Dukes car, which is now the Duke of Death. So, here you go. Some people would be, complaining like, oh, there's a rebel flag on the car. And I do crap like that. So here I am with the Imponte Beater Dukes, which, not half bad for its price. It's got a lot of customization to it. But we all know the Imponte Dukes, at this point, is based off of two different cars. The 1969 Dodge Charger RT and the 1967 Pontiac GTO, which in Ponte is supposed to be like Pontiac. Who knows? Maybe they'll add in like a Buffalo Classic where it's like a Charger or a Cornet. I see them doing either one. Such as it is. So, yeah, now this one compared to the other Imponte, I want to say this one. Now, Slate noticed the difference that this one was a tad bit slower than that one. Was a tad bit slower than the normal Imponte. Well, the normal Dukes, that is. But this one, this one's got the customization to it. Which I said should have been on the Dukes to begin with. But I got this, I paid full price for it, which, it's worth around, it's just shy over 300,000. Not bad, but, people complain about prices in this game, and it's like, no one's forcing you to buy this. If you want it, then buy it. Of course, this one, I am planning on using it for a movie. Will it be used for a Dukes of Hazzard movie? Probably, probably not. I almost Roscoe'd it. Get it out the water. Thank you. I almost like to have Roscoe'd that. Almost. Almost. But it couldn't be any funnier than when Roscoe did this. Yeah, if you remember that, then congratulations. Roscoe sending the General E through an RV. That was top quality. But yeah, this one, you tend to get, more customization. Because when you buy it, it's got, dented up fenders. But there is an option to get rid of them. Which, to me it's bizarre, but, I could see them doing that again, but with the Virgo. Like, oh, look, here's the... Yeah, that's the disaster. That is a disaster. If I can actually get out of this. Yeah, actually I can get out of this. There it is. There it goes. And there I go again. Behold, everybody, it is Roscoe P. Coltrane. It's Roscoe season. And I managed to get it out of that sort of mess. Well, I'm going to back it up, swing it. Let's not do that again. You know, such as it is. You know, they have flipped the General Lee several times throughout the show. There was that one bad guy, the one group of bad guys that they pretended to be Bo and Luke. And, you know, they actually flipped that General Lee, you know, such as it is. Swing it. Yeah, this thing's got the torque. Ooh, swing it back this way. We might have to jump across, which is might what we have to do. But in the spirit of Dukes of Hazzard, we're going to send it. See? Stuck the landing. Sometimes you got to do that to get across. Because, hey, it's kind of gotten a little bit rougher to get across the Wall of Doom. You know, such as it is. So that's where we'll leave off at. The good old Dodge Charger, which, you know, by the way, that's my favorite muscle car. The 1969 Dodge Charger RT. 440, that is. Even though in the show they used different models. Technically the same car, but just the 318, the 429, 426, I mean. The 426 Hemi. And the 440, which, funny enough, there was a stunt guy that I knew, but I'll get to that in a moment. You're probably wondering, how does this thing handle on dirt? It loves dirt. And it's absolutely magical to slide this around. See? Look at that. Just sliding it around all over the joint, like we're running from Roscoe. Which, I will say this, will I be doing a casting call? Probably. Where we will actually end up doing a Moonshine, Dukes of Hazzard, Smokey and the Bandit Legacy type movie. So there is that. So if you happen to have any, you know, if you happen to have the Greenwood Police Cruiser in your arsenal, then hey, do stop on by. We might use you for something. And I am on PC, so just a heads up. I'm not on Xbox, I'm not on the PlayStation, I'm strictly PC with all the newer stuff. Why? Because I can. I have no interest in doing console stuff anymore. But this is by far, you know, such a shame, you know, they never got to do a Easter egg livery, because, you know, there's some cars, they just have that particular livery on them. This one never got one. This one never got, you know, like a redneck racer or, you know, that sort of deal. I mean, they could have easily pulled it off. I mean, you could paint the roof with different flags. But, you know, that's about it. But, you know, if you want to make a General Lee, you know, you kind of need the rebel flag to do that. But we can't have that in Grand Theft Auto because people got to complaining about it. And it's like, it's Grand Theft Auto. The whole game's supposed to be offensive. It's like South Park. They make fun of the American dream. That's what it's the whole point. You know, in that sort of way. They take, you know, basically they just make fun of what's, you know, going on in in popular, you know, in today's trends. They make fun of it. So, I mean, you know, they might get to GTA 6 and they just might get to making fun of brain rot. You know, TikTok brain rot and that sort of deal. So that is something. Now, I will say this. Do watch it because the back end can slide out from under you. So it's real easy to, you know, shoot the back end out. And, you know, really get to spinning it. So you do have to watch that. But, you know, it's got near perfect body roll. What time is it? Okay, that's good. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the final Dukes. Which is the Duke of Death making a return from when I already shot it before. So other than that, let's jump into it. Alright, so I'm finally back with the Duke of Death for the final part of the Imponte Dukes Off-Road Review Collection. So, figured I'd come back to this one, because, I already did a review on this one, several months back. Granted the video didn't do well for whatever reason, such as it is, I don't really care. So I figured, why don't I just come back to this for the actual review part? Very rarely will I ever do a vehicle twice, but, such as it is. So, off-road-wise, it is actually halfway decent. But, they did upgrade it, since the summer of well, actually, I recorded in the fall of 2024. Because now, this actually has some Imponte tech added, which, you can add well, it has the missile jammer. That's about all you can really do with it. It has the missile jammer, so that's kind of a big thing. And yes, all the lights do in fact work. Now then, the only reason why I have this one, it is free for the most part. And I do plan on using it for a movie. So that is the big thing I want to do with this is, do a movie with it. Which that's going to be interesting when that comes out. So I do plan on doing a movie with this one. It is going to be a moonshine, good old boys movie where this will ultimately be the star car. Comes out just fine. The only reason why you have to jump it across now is because, hey, some of these cars do not like deep water. So that is a plus. It is torquey, so do watch it. Because if you mash the gas too fast, it's going to spin. The tires are going to spin. See, this is me at a dead stop. When you mash the gas, it's got the traction. I put off-road tires on this because, that's how I see this car being in the movie. So I do plan on using it for a movie. Simply because, A, it's aggressive. And, when all these lights are on, it looks even more aggressive, especially at night. Which I might change the lights up to something more intimidating, to make it look more sinister. Because it is going to be the hero car. And no, I'm not doing any car horror films with it. Okay, it's not going to climb up that. Well, I kind of figured that was going to be a thing. So yeah, it is going to be a bit of a... it is going to be the hero car in it. It's going to be featuring a lot of car chases, that sort of thing. It's going to evolve around running moonshine and, the main character losing his car and he gets this one as a replacement. So that is a bit of a plus thing. Now this long base might be a problem, but I know the secret to Around the Wall of Doom. Don't you get in the water. Get out of the water. Yeah, the Wall of Doom has claimed this car many times, but ever since I learned the easier way around it, doesn't exactly mean as much. There she goes. Get across. One thing about it, you gotta watch it. Such a shame they never added, a Dukes of Hazzard Easter egg livery to the Dukes. It would have been nice if they did. Or who knows, maybe they're going to release a 69 Dodge Charger Bravado Buffalo. And say, okay, here's a General Lee car. But, still, I got my own opinions about that. I'm not going to get into it because it's not really the appropriate video to do so in. And I guarantee you there's going to be someone trying to bring up those type of topics, and I'm just going to say, don't do that. Alright, so here's something else that I do like about it. This thing absolutely loves the dirt. And it is very easy to throw it around dirt when you really get into it. It eats the dirt. Especially when you learn the right handbrake and throttle combinations. It takes right off and it will, slide around around the dirt roads. I will say this, one part of the movie will take place on the dirt road, so that's going to be a plus. And by the way, I am going to make the movies a little bit better. And they are going to be feature-length movies. So, yeah, a little bit more details than, how it was back in the day. I'm going to go up this way because, why not? I'm just going to go around this way because, See, that's the other thing, too. You can lose traction going uphill. So, if you find a hill line, do stick with it. When you find your line on some of these hills, do stick with it. Because if not, you're going to go backwards. And down the mountain you go, tumbling, and now your friends are screaming, lizard shit and fuck.
Hooray! Lizard shit, fuck!
Don't worry, some of y'all will get the reference to that. Which, funny enough, the final part of that George Carlin thing, that honestly sounds like me, Slade, and Logan off-roading. Because one of us will go tumbling backwards, and then that's when the foul words come into play, and it knocks into one of us, and we're like, well, there it goes. And trust me, there's been plenty of off-road videos that me and Slade have done where one of us has completely ate it. Because it's like, I can make it up that. Nope, I'm not going to make it up that. Well, there it goes. Foul words ensues. Even though I do try to use, less foul words this day and age. Still, I don't believe in overly using them. Because then at that point, they just lose the enhancement. Well, I wouldn't say enhancements. Technically you shouldn't be saying them anyway. But, words do sometimes come out. You think it would get up this, but I guess not. And this is at stock height, by the way. So it ain't going to get across that. I only check the time because sometimes there's an Easter egg that spawns right over there. The Thelma and Louise Easter egg will spawn over there, so if you want the mariachi tornado, it's over there. Which, I should go review that. I think I did review it. But I do have one in online, so I should get around to reviewing all the tornadoes. Make the tornado collection. But yeah, such as it is. But yeah, so far as, this thing taking on dirt, it's one of the few muscle cars that loves the dirt. Because there's a lot of muscle cars in this game, they do not like the dirt whatsoever. They do not like these dirt roads. But if you're a skilled enough driver in this game, you don't have to worry about it, such as that right there. See, mistakes happen. But, at least it's not the Roscoe levels of mistakes. But, I've made them throughout this whole shebang over the years. So I'm back to making off-road reviews again. I guess it's a plus. Such as it is. Yeah, it's kind of a big nostalgia trip doing this again. And I hit a mountain line, and I'm going to stop it right here. So that would be about it for the Imponte Dukes Off-Road Review Collection. So, that was Diesel messaging me. I'm showing him, some ATS mods I was doing. So yeah, I have been working on this particular one since 2024, and I just got around to finishing it. Took me long enough. So other than that, shoot the like button with a grip skiddly if you enjoyed it. Please do comment down below vehicles we could possibly be getting for the summer. Or in GTA 6. So other than that, y'all do shoot the like button. Not the like button. Y'all smash the subscribe button today and be sure to, click the notification bell icon to stay up to date because I officially live stream now. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, anywhere between 6 to 7 p.m. starting Central Standard Time. So, other than that, y'all have a great day and a ballin' weekend. Don't do anything stupid. I'll be seeing y'all around for the next off-road review collection. So, other than that, y'all take care of yourselves.